Okay, welcome back. We're on page 417 talking about letting the user pick the size of the array. Now, it should be fairly obvious if you're writing an application that's going to use an array. This is probably one of the questions you want to ask towards the top of the application, right? You know, how many, you're doing a grade book and you want to know, well, how many students are there? That'd be a pretty important question to ask like at the top of the application somewhere. Okay, continuing. Talk about on page 419 and 420, they talk about reassigning and copying an array. So now remember, I've said this several times, but I think the meaning may not have sunk in. These are classes, they're not primitive types. Okay, so if I go in here and say int junk42, oops. I got it. And I say this is equal to, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, or whatever. Okay, cool. So I have an array. So what if I just said junk 12 is equal to junk 42? What do you think? Is that going to work? I mean, I got a little yellow guy saying array is only written to, well, that's okay. That's not the problem. So junk 12 is equal to junk 42. Is that going to cause a problem? Hey, I'm gonna commit this out just because when I'm running these demos, I don't want to have to stop and enter something. No, I didn't have any trouble with that. So did I copy the array? No, I didn't. What happened is behind the scenes, junk 12 and junk 42 are still pointing to the same array. So just to prove that, let's go tweak one. Okay, so let's go in here and say junk number 12 position 0 is equal to 99. Okay, and then we're going to turn right around and ask what junk 42's position 0 is. Okay, so is it going to be 1 or is it going to be 99? It's 99 because these guys are pointing to each other. So we did not make a copy when we did that. It just kind of sort of looks like it. So there's two ways you can do a real copy if you really wanted to make a copy. One of them is using a method called clone. And clone just sounds like, by the way, I have no idea why they didn't just say copy, but clone is what they did. And it works fairly well. But there's actually a better way if you're trying to go for performance. Clone is very, very portable in the Java world. Okay, it's very, very portable. But since we're on a Windows system and our Windows system kind of knows, we can go down to system. By the way, I'm telling you something here if you're paying attention. The system class, okay? That system class is kind of sort of tailor-made to the environment that we're currently in. So the Unix people have a system class, and the Mac people have a system class, and the Windows people have a system class, but they're not the exact same thing, okay? So there's a system thing in here called system array copy, and that one is probably the preferred way to do it because it's more performant. You don't have to do that. I mean, clone works. It's just, clone is portable. System array may or may not be working on every single platform that you have. Okay, when it comes time to copy an array, we have two techniques. What about resizing an array? Well, again, in real life, here's what you would do. Okay, I've created me a junk 42 and it's only got 3 things in it, and I go, oh man, I made a mistake. It needs to have 5 things in it. What you would typically do is you would create a new array with 5 elements, use a for loop to copy all the ones in there, and then throw the other one away. Okay? So that's a pain in the butt. And so they came up with yet another system thing that does this for you. It's called arrays because remember, well, okay. So let's just kind of sort of do one here. I'm gonna go here and I want to say arrays, plural, dot, and I get all these things here. So one of the things I want to do is copy of, okay? Copy of. And so copy of, and then I'm going to tell it that I want, you know, the original, which is chunk 42. And then the source and destination. So source is chunk 42, and the destination is chunk 12. Okay, so this is the way you can do one of these things where it's a copy. I'm going to have to add a as soon as I get here. Oh. Okay. Well, I'm not going to fix that right now. I promise you, I will fix it later. Anyway, the copy of is a technique which you can use to make a copy of an array, and you can, resize it. Like, how big do I want this thing to be? Okay. I promise I will fix that. On page 422, they talk about passing arrays as arguments to methods. Okay. That's not really a big thing. It's just like any other type of thing. I can go here and create a method. So we'll create a method called, so we're going to do static int. I'm going to call this thing summit. And then I'm going to take an array of something. I don't really know what it is, but some array. I'm just going to call it array, since I don't really have a name. Okay, so right off the bat, you know how I'm going to do this. I'm going to say int answer is equal to 0, and then return answer, because that's the way I always do these guys. And then I come back and fill in the stuff in between. Okay, now, which loop type should I use here? I mean, I could use a for loop, and I could use a length, but am I going to modify the contents? No. Am I going to go through it just once? Yeah. Am I going to go through it in order? Yeah. Well, then that enhanced for loop sounds like a pretty cool idea. So let's do that. For int value, I don't know, in array, and then answer plus equals, dang it, value. Okay, so if this works, I just pass it an array, and it's just like any other method we created, where you give it the data type, except this time the data type is an array. It's no big deal. So let's try this thing out. So system.out.println, the sum is, and then I'm going to put summit, and let's use hip hip. Okie dokie, let's give this thing a whirl. Yay, and the sum is 176. Okay, kind of makes sense. Again, not very complicated. Yes, we could have done this with a traditional for loop. It would have worked just as fine, except this is a little bit faster. Okay. Now, I did not pass to this guy. I did not pass the size of the array. Okay? I mean, I guess I could have, but I built it so all you sent was the array. So either, you have two choices. You either use the enhanced for, which doesn't care about the length, or you can use a traditional for and use array dot length and get the length. So either way. All right, so we're going to do some drills here on how to do useful things. Like, I want to check to see if two arrays are equal. Okay? That's a good thing. So here we go. Let's create a static, and it's going to be Boolean, because all I want to know is, are these two arrays the same, yes or no? Okay, that's all I want to know. Boolean, and we're going to call this one, I don't know, are arrays same? These are pretty stupid numbers here. So here we go. I'm going to do int, and I'm just going to say array1 because I don't really know what these things are. And then it's going to pass the second one with array2. Okay? All right, I'm going to start exactly the way I always start. You guys have got this pattern in your head probably by now. I'm going to say Boolean answer equals false, return answer, and then put the cursor in between and start doing it. All right, so how would you check to see if two arrays had the exact same thing? Well, I would do two checks. First of all, I would check to see if they had the same length, because if they don't have the same length, well, there's no need to be check each individual values. There's no way that they could be the same, right? So this is an easy one. So if array1 length is equal to array2 length, then we're on the right track. That kind of makes sense? So otherwise, just don't even bother, right? So now I want to go through and do a for loop kind of a thing. Now, I'm going to be asking for individual elements. So if I'm going to be running with two arrays using the same index, I kind of sort of need to use a traditional for loop. The enhanced for loops, because it doesn't have indexes, it's designed to like run through one array. I want to run through two of them simultaneously. I want to get the 0th on both of them, and then the first on both of them, and the second on both of them, right, at the same time. So this is going to be a traditional for loop. So index is equal to 0. Index is less than array1 length. I mean, it doesn't, since I already know that they're the same, I don't have to worry about which one I'm picking. And index plus plus. Okay, cool. So we're going to go here and we're going to say if array1 sub index is not equal to or equal to. Give me a minute to think about this. Which way do I want to go? Yeah, I want to say not equal to. If it's not equal to array2 index, then I know this guy is false. And I can break. Remember, break just gets me completely out. Cool? All right, so if the arrays, it is possible that, I tell you what, I'm going to change this to true. Okay? I'm going to start with the fact that, no, that's a dumb idea. Let me keep that just the way it is. Daggone it. And I'm going to assume this guy is true to begin with, so it's kind of sort of true. So answer is equal to true. All right, so what I'm doing is I assume that they're not. And then if the array links are the same, I'm going to assume that they are unless otherwise. And then I'm going to go through, and then anytime I run across one where the indexes don't match, I'm going to break out and be done. Okay? Cool. So let's try this guy. So let's do the junk 42 and junk 12 guy. Okay? So I'm going to do system.out println and say junk 42 and junk 12. And then I'm going to put in here, what did I call it? Something silly. Are arrays same? Alright, and then I'm going to pass it junk 42 and junk 12. Okay. Alright, we are at the 15-minute mark, so let's stop this guy and pick it up in just a minute.